Sussex Police Authority claim to be connecting the public with policing. During this financial year, they appear to be holding 5 meetings which members of the public are allowed to attend. The first meeting took place on the 16th of April and lasted less than 45 minutes. A webcast was provided of part of that meeting, and as the meeting included a report on complaints about the police, my special interest, I am YouTubing all 81 seconds of that report. The meeting appears in the little window on the left. Usually part of the audio is missing because members fail to turn on their microphones. To the right of the video is an index of agenda items and speakers. The top of that index is on screen now. The first agenda item, you may notice, is not number 1, but 8. The first 9 minutes and 15 seconds of the meeting are both invisible and silent. The video window is grey, then blue, and grey again, until the Chief Constable suddenly appears in the middle of agenda item 8, more than 6 minutes earlier than the index time of 15 minutes 56 seconds. The picture is occasionally partly obscured. We jump on now to agenda item 10, the report of the Professional Standards Committee, formerly known as the Complaints Committee. Although the entire report lasts for 81 seconds, it consists of less than a minute of actual reporting because of a faulty start. The chairman of the authority introduces the chairman of the committee.
Professional Standards Committee is a report, and John Mortimer, I think, is going to lead us on this.
Thank you, Chairman. I'll move the report of the Professional Standards Committee on the 16th of April. And on page 43, 2.3, just to bring members' attention to the fact that in the complaint procedures. Oh, sorry, Chairman. I am moving the report of the Professional Standards Committee on the 16th of April, and on page 43, on 2.3, the category of incivility does cover a wide range, and members requested that in future that we get this broken down so that we could get a wider picture. And on page 44, 3.1, it was mainly the newer members who spotted this. Some of the older members sort of got used to it. But there are a number of complaints that are resolved locally and are not fed into our statistics by the Professional Standards Department. So they're obviously going to work on this so that we do get a picture of the whole of West Sussex, including those that have been determined locally, which before we didn't know about. The rest of page 44, page 45, page 46, and I'll move the report and attempt to answer any questions anybody's got.
Thank you very much, John. Does anybody have any questions of John on the Professional Standards Committee's report? We thank John for that report.
Thank you. Yeah.
And note that's for noting. Thank you very much, John.
No member of the authority had a question or a comment, but I have a few. We start at the beginning.
Yeah, I am moving the report of the Professional Standards Committee on the 16th of April.
No, Mr. Mortimer, you were not. The authority meeting at which you were reporting took place on the 16th of April. The committee meeting which you chaired was on the 4th of March.
The category of incivility does cover a wide range, and members requested that in future that we get this broken down so that we could get a wider picture.
No, Mr. Mortimer, the category of incivility does not cover a wide range. Incivility is a politer word for rudeness. Of the few complaints of mine that were recorded at all, 2 contain the word incivility. I am supposed to have complained of incivility, impoliteness and intolerance. I have no idea which complaint or complaints this is supposed to record. This record of incivility is supposed to represent more than 2 A4 pages of complaints that I made through the Police Complaints Authority after I had been violently assaulted by an ex-policeman. I complained that the investigating officer had refused to take into account a history of threats and harassment which has required the attendance of the police on at least 4 previous occasions, that he had prejudged the matter in the light of what my assailant and his wife had said, and that he did not allow me to make a signed statement of what had happened. I added that some of the things that the sergeant said to me were objectionable but not worth complaint in themselves. I later found out through the Data Protection Act that my complaints had been reduced to the single word incivility, and that a dishonest account of the attack on me had been entered in police records. So the problem, Mr. Mortimer, is not distinguishing different kinds of incivility, but the much wider problem of the authority monitoring complaints when the complaint system is managed by a dishonest police force.
There are a number of complaints that are resolved locally and are not fed into our statistics by the Professional Standards Department. So they're obviously going to work on this so that we do get a picture of the whole of West Sussex, including those that have been determined locally, which before we didn't know about.
No, Mr. Mortimer, you do not want a picture of the whole of West Sussex. You are a councillor for West Sussex, but you are speaking as a member of Sussex Police Authority, which is responsible for East Sussex as well as West Sussex. So you need a picture for the whole of Sussex. Do you know, Mr. Mortimer, that the Sussex Police website says all complaints by law must be recorded by the police force itself? Did Sussex Police record these complaints at all? Did Sussex Police record the complaints that according to them were locally resolved but just not show them to the authority? Does that mean that they were not included in the official complaints registers, which the authority has been relying on for years? If what you say about how the Professional Standards Department has been dealing with statistics is true, presumably all the while I have had complaints about Sussex Police Authority, which is supposed to be monitoring complaints about the police, has been misleading the public. Consider a couple of previous reports by Chairman of the Complaints Committee.
It is important to remind everybody that the number of complaints per incident is very, very low. When you think there was nearly 600,000, was it 600,000? Yeah. 600,000 incidents, and only 1% of that was resulting in a complaint.
Mr. Mortimer, you were not telling the truth, though I suppose you were simply accepting what the police told you, just as I think you were not yourself capable of writing the printed version of the most recent report by your committee, but simply allowed your name to be appended to something written by some bureaucrat.
What I think is most interesting here is the comparison between the close to 500,000 incidents, 439,500 incidents handled during the period concerned, and the number of complaints that arise therefrom. It's fewer than one. As you can see, the figure there, 0.991 per 1,000 incidents.
That seems to me an example of willful blindness on the part of Mr. Rogers. Presumably it is the public, including complainants, for whom in some sense the authority is supposed to be acting.